You can probably tell I have been loving landscapes again recently, and my favourite way to really capitalise on any burst of creative inspo is to turn it into a challenge, so I can really push myself to put in those hours, work on those skills and improve my own output. So I've decided to try my best this week to fill up an entire sketchbook with landscape paintings, so I can really play with, I don't know, different techniques, different colours, different compositions. I'm also really happy to be working with Intel again this year, who have really kindly sponsored this video and sent over this amazing device which you'll get to see a lot more on later on in the video. Right, so the best way to start any challenge is with as much figured out as possible. So I've already decided on my core kit for this week, starting with this sketchbook, which was originally an A5 sketchbook, but I've cut it in half so that the dimensions are more in line with landscape painting. I'm also going to use a limited palette of gouache paint just to keep things nice and simple. And finally, the only other thing I think I'll need will be this laptop, which is the Dell XPS 13, which should fill in the gaps of all the other needs I have along the way. The first one being references. So I'm thinking this sketchbook has 30 pages. I would ideally like to be completing 6 paintings a day just so that I can stay somewhat ahead of myself. I'll probably spend about an hour on each painting, although I will aim for less, which means 6 hours a day dedicated to this challenge alone. Plus I then have, you know, other work and commitments to be getting on with. So I'm aiming to collect any source material in any free moments, which is where I think this sleek little device can really help me out. The Intel 8th Gen Core i7 processor and improved wireless performance and stability allow me to browse instantly and uninterrupted, so I can pluck inspo from the web whenever a moment comes up. When I went into the first painting, my only real intention was to get it down as quickly as possible. You kind of need to get that first one out of the way and know that it's not going to be the best, just to give yourself permission to make mistakes along the way. And so I just kind of genuinely just rushed into it just to get something down, get that blank bit of paper done and get the challenge started. The lighting clearly isn't great today because the sun's been in and out. It's quite a stormy day, and so I do think because it's so cloudy it'll get darker earlier, so I'm trying to really get through as many as I can. So as I moved on, the second one was a much simpler composition, but still something that I find quite complicated since I'm not really used to painting clouds. That one only took 12 minutes, which was great. That kind of caught me up to the timing I wanted to be at. One thing that I've noticed is that the paper is a lot more textured than I would have expected, so that's something to kind of get around. Other than that though, the paints that I chose have been really good. The colour combination works really well for everything I've needed it for so far. So I'm 3 down now. I will probably see if I can get 1 or 2 more done today before it gets too dark in here, since I don't really like working in artificial light. I need to make the most of the little daylight that I have left. Anyway, back to references. You've probably recently seen me taking inspiration from movie settings for some of my paintings, so recreating the landscapes from the films that I've just watched, which is a great little cheat for fitting some leisure time into my work so I don't start feeling too burnt out. Like, yeah, maybe I am watching a film during my lunch break, but it's research. Now, where Intel have really been innovating with these machines is the battery life. On top of being able to stream movies with practically no waiting time, the battery on this can actually last up to 16 hours streaming from sites like Netflix at like 1080p. With this, I feel like I'm really covered reference-wise. I'll be able to collect everything I need on the go and in stunning detail. We are, I don't even want to think about how many hours in now, and something I'm realizing is just how much video content I'm going to have to edit to compile all of the footage of this painting. So I've decided to start editing as I go, get a little head start on myself, and it's been surprisingly painless so far. The sheer capabilities of this processor have slashed my editing time and my exporting time. Oh, and I mentioned the battery yesterday, and I've been really impressed. I've been confident enough to take this around with me and edit what's turning into a chunky video without worrying that I'm going to run out of steam. Day 4 was when I hit the wall. I seriously considered giving up, purely because it was just one of those days. The weather was horrible, things kept going wrong just generally in life that day. I was getting tired and fed up with it, especially as my first painting that day wasn't what I'd wanted. I felt like I was going backwards and it took way longer than I'd hoped. Thierry came and gave me moral support, which was lovely, even if he swiftly moved on when I told him that the paint wasn't for eating. The wall is a usual obstacle in a challenge like this. It's easy to say, I'll skip today and catch up tomorrow, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're working around time constraints, but when it's a motivation thing, I mean, that's what the challenge is all about, painting when you don't want to. So I just decided to take it one painting at a time, not promising myself that I would stick to the 6-piece threshold, just picking up the brush and starting the next painting without thinking about it, you know, turning the page once I was done and just diving right into getting the tape down to frame the next one. And that worked for me. Alexa, play some music.
Here's a playlist you might like.
My favourite thing about these challenges is really finding your rhythm. My sketchbook, my paintbrush, my laptop have almost become an extension of me at this point, and getting down to work on these paintings has become a natural process. I've trial and errored different limited palettes, bringing different paints in and out depending on how much I use them. I've gotten a better idea of what works and what doesn't, what I need to work on, and it's exciting having that sense of direction now, knowing what I'll look deeper into after this challenge is over. What's made everything even more seamless has been being able to do everything I'm doing and use my voice to control my device, so I can keep my hands free and not have to faff about with other devices to play music or gather any information I might want. Plus, I've been able to pair my laptop with my phone so I can actually take and make calls and send and receive texts and transfer files all from right here. My whole process has become a well-oiled machine, and what initially started out as quite a daunting project has actually turned out to be quite enjoyable, thanks in huge part to this device at the centre of it, keeping things running smoothly and instantly. Intel have really outdone themselves with this processor, and it's been so refreshing to be able to create so seamlessly. So if you want to find out more about Intel's new innovations or this Dell XPS 13, there will be links in the description below for you to do so. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this one, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.